a true champion. I'm a true champion.
Live from iRacing's virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway, welcome sim racing fans to the finale of Season 3 of the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series. It's the Triple M Pulling 200, live tonight on Racecraft TV. We're happy that all of you are spending your Friday night with us as we cap off a third season of NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series action. I'm your host, Joshua Lee. Alongside me is Jordan Hicks in the commentary booth. All car and track cameras tonight were created by Istvan Ballo at trackcams22.com. Jordan, we have gone through so many rounds to get to this moment, this race, and there is a lot on the line for all of these drivers. Not only do we have 4 competing for a championship, but for a lot of the field, it's their final opportunity to get into victory lane before new challengers come in Season 4.
It's definitely going to be one of those races where a lot of drivers are going to have a lot of pressure on themselves, because last week, Josh, we saw Stephen Thomas, actually the week before that, win at Richmond and then take a win before that also at Nashville. So he went back to back. So it's going to be a really interesting night for the number 23 to see if he can maybe go 3 for 3. And just tonight is going to be one of those races you really want to look for, because it's Charlotte Motor Speedway and it's known for a lot of speed.
That third win in a row would get him a championship as well. Let's make sure to mention that Brady LaBeouf, Robbie Richards, and Taylor Peacock are going to be the challengers for Stephen Thomas in the 23. With Thomas having 3 total wins on the season, he sits in the favorite spot. Brady LaBeouf with 1 win, Robbie Richards with 2, Taylor Peacock also with 1 win on the season. It's anybody's guess at who is going to walk away with the championship tonight, and we race for the championship at one of the original tracks on the iRacing service, but updated. It's the Charlotte Motor Speedway. This, of course, being the oval version, scanned around in 2019, excuse me. Opened in 1960 and sits in Concord, North Carolina, the backyard to all of the NASCAR teams. So it is seen as much of a home track for most of the NASCAR field and for a lot of the iRacing service as well, with a lot of them being based in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. Let's take a look at exactly how tonight's race is going to work, because it is quite interesting, Jordan. 140 laps, the normal short 30 lap opening stage, 30 laps second stage, but then we have a stint of 80 going to the end, and like normal, drivers will have to cut that stint in half, and they will have to bring it into the pit lane about halfway through, with the fuel window being at about 40 to 45 laps. So that final stage, we are going to see everybody bring it into the pit lane, which could be make or break for any of the championship competitors.
You know, definitely. So when you come in that pit lane, you're going to want to make sure everything is 100%, and you're going to get out back onto the track as soon as possible, because I'm curious to really know how much the tires can affect your race here tonight, and especially, like you mentioned, that fuel window. So you're really going to have to be really precise on when you go into that pit lane to really make sure you're on your A game running out of that pit lane.
Back in the eNASCAR Road to Pro qualifying iRacing series, the fuel window was about 40 to 45 laps there as well, but there was a couple of drivers wondering if their tires would even make it to that point. So you bring up a good point there, Jordan, of just exactly whose tires are going to hold up for that entire time. Will we see anybody pit a little bit shorter and run a different race? We'll have to find out what is going to happen tonight as we get ready to go racing from the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway. We'll be taking a look at your starting grid as we get ready to go racing tonight. Starting on the pole, it is going to be championship competitor in Brady LaBeouf. He bested the rest in qualifying, and he also bested the rest when it came to the practice session as well. He sits to the inside of the first row. Blake Lothian, not competing for the championship tonight, sits to his outside. Jose Luis Rivera, another fast driver from practice, sits to the inside of row 2. Stephen Thomas on the outside. He's competing for a championship. Keith Bradley on the inside of row 3, not competing for a championship, but Robbie Richards in the 48 to his outside in the 6th spot will be competing as well. So there's 3 of your championship competitors. Let's find the 4th, who is a bit further down the order. Is 7th, 8th goes to Chris Zinneman and Jeffrey Sickles, Kyle Hess, Dana Shepard, Brandon Bullock, and Raul Meza. Gonna round out the top 12. Jacob Klinkart, then there is your final championship competitor in Taylor Peacock. He sits P14 on the speed charts out of qualifying. That is not where that number 81 wanted to be. It's Adam Newbert, Stephen Gregory on the 8th row with Eric Zimmerman and Devin Painter on row number 9. Logan Quinn, Dan Hagan, and Clint Mata are going to round out all of the drivers taking the green flag here tonight. And the field sits on the pit lane now, or sits, I should say, on the front straightaway to thank all the fans who watched this season, and they'll pull down into the pit lane this time by as well to give a thank you to everybody who has made this season of the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series so special. And that is from everybody who has watched live on Racecraft TV every single week. It is everybody who has helped to put on this campaign, from Brady LaBeouf, from the entire admin team. We've had Brett Weavers in here, or Brett Wilvers, I should say, in here most of the weeks as race control. We have seen a lot of different people come in and out in terms of racing on the racetrack, but all the drivers, all the staff members, all of everybody here at Racecraft TV, for Jordan and myself, it has been an intense season of action here for the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series, and it has been an amazing 3rd season of action as well. And we cannot thank everybody who has made this season possible. It has been one for the record books. And unfortunately, this will be the final season, at least for the moment, here on Racecraft TV. The NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series will head over to our colleagues at LSR TV for season 4 of action. But it has been an amazing 3 seasons here on Racecraft TV. Jason Higginbotham, season 1 champion, with Bradley Wilson grabbing the championship in season 2. We have not had a repeat champion, and we will not have a repeat champion here in season 3. It will be a new champion rising to the top of the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series here tonight. But they're going to rise after 140 laps of racing tonight. This is going to be an intense one. It is going to be a special one. It has been champion talk for the last couple of weeks, obviously, with Kyle Larson being crowned the NASCAR Cup Series champion about a month and a half ago. And then just recently, Max Verstappen, in a controversial Formula One championship, was crowned the champion there. We're ready to crown a champion in the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series. The field is going to make their way off of turn number 4. They'll see Barney the Flagman ready and eager to wave the green flag as the pace truck makes its way off and into the safety of pit lane. It's time to go racing for the final time in season 3. Let's go racing. We are underway for the championship. Brady LeBoeuf able to hold off the charging drivers behind him to lead the opening handful of laps here in the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series Championship finale. As always, championship competitors highlighted in yellow. Whoever crosses the start-finish line on the checkered flag first is going to be the champion out of those four. And LeBoeuf currently holds that championship spot. Now, a win won't do anything for them. They just need to be the first driver to cross the start-finish line. But Jordan, who doesn't want to say they won the championship race? Now Blake Lothian takes the lead, and Keith Bradley's about to work his way past Brady LeBoeuf in the 9. But really, all LeBoeuf needs to worry about is the 23 of Stephen Thomas behind him, because if the 23 gets by him, then that'll be championship implications. He's also got Robbie Richards back there, as now here comes Richards looking at the inside of Jose Luis Rivera, trying to get up to the 23.
And we usually see the 9 of Brady LeBoeuf really fast in a lot of racetracks we've gone to, so pretty nice run for him so far tonight. But you can also see the 48 of Robbie Richards just sitting right behind in P number 5 behind Stephen Thomas. So Josh, that could be heating up to be a great battle in the upcoming few laps here at Charlotte.
Blake Lothian sets the pace. We have seen a fast pace from him on intermediates this season. I keep going back now in the championship race, going all the way back to the opening round of this campaign when we went to the Texas Motor Speedway, and Lothian was the dominant driver there. Missed out on the win by a late race strategy call that went awry. He had to pit with just a handful of laps to go. He sets the pace here from the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway. We'll be capping off this stage at lap number 30. Once that lap is concluded, yellow flag will fly, and we'll be under the stage break for the first time tonight. We'll see if we have any yellow flags up till that point. But Jordan, I think the story we need to be focusing on here, at least for the moment, is further back in the field, as Taylor Peacock in the 81 sits in P14 right now, and after starting 12th, it's not the direction he wants to go. And you can see the yellow trim on his banner, the yellow trim on the spoiler. He is a championship competitor. This is not where he wants to be on the racetrack.
And we also see him with a lot of speed when it comes to tracks like these, and so I would have hopefully just say he's just got to really run his race, stay consistent, because yes, he's sitting in 13th right now. You never know what could happen. Any door could open at any given time, and that could push him up in the order for the 81 machine. So he just got to really sit back, stay concentrated, and really focus on his race to really try and get up into the top of the pack.
And we'll see how quickly he can do that, or if he's going to employ a bit of strategy to do that as well. That is also very possible. Take a look at this battle up towards the front, as it's Lothian, it's Bradley, it's LeBoeuf, and more, all following in each other's tire tracks. And with Lothian leading the way and Bradley able to get by, that just puts Brady LeBoeuf a little bit further back. Not in the realm of trouble yet, but he does have two of his championship competitors behind him, as Stephen Thomas and Robbie Richards run fairly close together. And you can see all of them running in a single line, and now starting to migrate a little bit up the racetrack as they start to go to the outside. Not out of the realm of possibility for these drivers to make the outside line work, Jordan, but it does become a little bit of a wild card when you start to run up there, because if there's grip up there, you can make that outside line work. But if no rubber's put up there, you're putting all the rubber on the racetrack. It is going to chew those tires up quick, and they might need to pit before that 40 to 45 lap fuel window comes into play.
And with chewing up your tires so early like that, you got to be careful on, I believe it's turn number 2, right before you go on the backstretch. That wall can come up at any given moment when you exit turn 2, so you got to be careful on really where you're running when you're exiting on that corner. And you can see the 9 just trying to keep it stuck down to the bottom to try and make a change and get up into P number 2.
Like I mentioned, he doesn't need to get further up the racetrack. It would be nice for the 9, put a couple of barrier trucks in between himself and his championship competitors, but right now he just needs to be focused on the 2 drivers behind him who are his championship rivals. And we'll see how quickly this is going to turn the way of Stephen Thomas and Robbie Richards if it will, but take a look at the lead. We're about to see a change at the front of the field, not the front of the championship, as we might see both happen at the same time. Stephen Thomas made a look to the inside of LaBeouf, decided against it. Now LaBeouf is going to get a run, goes to the inside of Keith Bradley. LaBeouf wants that second spot, and it looks like he's going to be able to at least grab it by a couple of inches. Going to continue to try and run there, but Keith Bradley on the outside line going to prevail, at least for the moment. But take a look at the dive to the bottom for Brady LaBeouf. He washes up, has to get out of the gas, and Jordan, that might ruin the run for him down on that inside line. He's trying to go for the send, get by the 18, but once you have to let off the gas a little bit too much, your momentum stalls out, especially at a track like Charlotte in these trucks, as Keith Bradley takes a slam into the wall.
Luckily, everybody is still on the racetrack. We saw a little bit of a wiggle from the 48, which that also dropped the 23 down a couple of spots, so that hurt him a little bit, but it actually pushed the 9 up a little bit and gave him a little bit of room between him and Richards. So maybe now that he's a little bit on his own, the 9 can really focus on really trying to run with the 59, and maybe if he wants, go for P number 1 to just put some room in between him and the playoff drivers behind him.
He still has Robbie Richards to deal with, which Richards this season has not been the most consistent driver by any means, but he has had some success. He has 2 wins at Texas and Kentucky, but since then has not been to victory lane. He's been very close, but he just hasn't been able to get it done. Definitely not a bad season. I mean, he's in the championship 4. I don't think any season where you're in and running for the championship is going to be a bad season, but he has a lot to work for, I think, Jordan, and he has a lot to prove because he hasn't won since the beginning of the season, as LaBeouf goes to the inside of Blake Lothian, goes for the race lead. Also, Brady LaBeouf, I think, has something to prove, Jordan, tonight, because he has 1 win on the season. And you could say the same about Taylor Peacock, only 1 win for him as well. Something to prove, to almost say, yeah, I deserve this championship 4 spot, and I deserve the championship, as we see Brady LaBeouf go to the lead.
And it can definitely be really frustrating because I believe we've seen the 9 lead about 90% of the race at one of the tracks we went to. I don't really remember where it was, but he had something happen with his truck and it costed him that race, so getting a win could definitely be beneficial for him, but he's just got to sit up in the front right now and really fight off the 48 and really just keep that 59 between them two, so it's something that the 48 has to pass in order to really try and take over that championship spot from the 9.
And side by side now, Richards gonna go for second on Blake Lothian, has it by a couple of feet, now gonna have it by a couple of truck lengths as he goes up and into P number 2. So that pushes Lothian back into P number 3. Stephen Thomas still sits P4. Taylor Peacock, an update with the driver running a little bit further back, has made up a couple of spots, has only made up, I believe we checked in last with him when he was in P13, so it's only been 1. He's gonna go for another one here as he will run to the outside, and I believe almost making contact with the driver of Stephen Gregory in the 61. He's able to get by up and into P11 for the 81 of Peacock. Now Keith Bradley in the 18 is going to run in front of him. Bradley, another one of those drivers who has fallen off the pace, started up in P5, might have burned off those tires a little bit too quickly. Now is going to fall out of the top 10 as Peacock goes to the inside, but this is a good sign for the 81 here, Jordan. He's picking off trucks one at a time, which is going to put him a little bit further up the field, and still has 5 drivers in between himself and his first championship competitor. But running into this stage break, he'll at least be coming into the pit lane closer to a couple of his competitors, and who knows, maybe with a couple of 2-tire strategy calls, he might be running up at the front at the right time.
And we've seen the 81 really run from the back and really jump ahead to the front of the pack before, so he's really just playing his cards right as of right now, just like you mentioned, picking them off one by one and just really trying to stay calm and just run the right line for this track this early on in this race, because a 10th place finish in stage number 1 can definitely not hurt going into stage 2.
And of course, it's the only driver, or the first driver to cross the start-finish line in stage number 3, coming to the checkered flag, that is going to win this championship. Stage points do not matter at all tonight, so yes, stage win is going to be a good confidence booster, and stage points is going to be a good confidence booster, but it's not going to do anything for the championship. Speaking of the championship, we could see the hand on the championship be passed over to Robbie Richards here, as here comes the 48 to try and challenge for that race lead. Let's see what Richards can do as you're on board now with the number 48, trying to chase down the 9 of Brady LaBeouf. 8 to go this time by in stage number 1. Who is going to get that championship? We'll find out at the end of the final stage tonight, but for the first time tonight, Robbie Richards trying to change the championship hand over into his favor. Not able to do it yet. He's going to stay following in the tire tracks of the 9, but let's make it a 3-horse fight up the front, why don't we? As Stephen Thomas gets by Blake Lothian. 7 to go in stage number 1, and here comes the first battle for the championship lead as Robbie Richards dives to the inside. Brady LaBeouf gonna hold it around the outside, trying to defend the best he can. He's not going to get very defensive or very aggressive on the defense, but he is still gonna try and hold this lead off. Richards goes back to the bottom of the racetrack, running the inside line. Can Richards get it? He had it for a moment. Will a run off the corner do anything for the 9? It looks like that might have been LaBeouf's saving grace. He leads again at the line. How much is Richards willing to fight on the bottom? Here comes Stephen Thomas to try and get himself back into the championship conversation. LaBeouf still able to hold it around the outside, still able to fend off the 48 of Richards, and Richards is gonna have to cave. He's gonna have to fall back into line. He goes back to the inside. LaBeouf gonna lose a bit of time on the outside here, Jordan. How much is LaBeouf willing to try this outside line? It looks like it's working for him. Richards was getting some runs on the inside, but ultimately the 9 on the outside line is what kept him in the lead. Now here comes Stephen Thomas into the championship fight.
Thomas trying to keep it stuck down on the bottom, the 48 right in front of him. So this is going to really see if the 9 can fight the 2 off, because this is definitely one of those big battles you would see at the end of this race. But this is the end of stage number 1, so you can see the 48 trying to keep it stuck to the bottom, but the 9, I just feel like, has that run on the outside to really keep him up into P number 1.
Cross the line again. This time, it'll be 4 laps to go. Richards back to the bottom. LaBeouf on the outside line is holding him off, and I think it's partially because of the runs that he's able to get on the exit of these corners. Let's talk about tire wear for a moment. Losing about 1.5 seconds throughout the entire field on lap time. Richards gonna try and power around. He's not going to be clear. LaBeouf still able to run his own race up on the outside line. Stephen Thomas trying to join the conversation. It's not going to be close enough. Hearing calls of a wreck on the front straightaway. Caution flag flies. This is going to be the end of the opening stage, as it looks like a handful of drivers involved. The 17. The 17 getting involved on the front straightaway of Brandon Bullock. Let's see what happens to the 48. Brings out caution number 1. And Jordan, it was a 3-wide moment gone wrong with Bradley, Mata, and Bullock getting the worst end of the stick there.
And you can just see so much damage, and for some drivers, nowhere to go. And especially crashing on the front straightaway like that, it's definitely one of those things where you have so much speed coming off of 4, you have really nothing to do. So you can see the 18 come down a little bit into the 7, and there goes the 17 as well. So an unfortunate break for them. It seems like the 17 of Bullock might have a little bit of damage and cost him a lot of spots on the racetrack, but you never know what could happen, as who knows, he might be perfectly safe where he is when he comes out of the pit lane when we go back racing.
Taylor Peacock right in front of that incident. barely avoiding that one. If he was just one position further back, he would have been a championship competitor involved in that incident. But this will be the end of the opening stage here tonight. Stage winner will be the 48 of Robbie Richards. He is looking like he's going to bring it into the pit lane, and it looks like that's going to be common with the entire field as everybody wants to bring it into the pit lane. Question is, who is going to win this race off of the pit lane? Because whoever wins this race off the pit lane is going to be the championship leader, at least out of the championship 4. 3 of them sit in your top 3 positions currently. So here comes everybody into the pit lane. Who is going to grab that race off of pit road here from Virtual Charlotte? Everybody gonna try and bring it off now, and it looks like LaBeouf, just by a couple of inches, is able to grab that race off of the pit lane. So the 9 machine of Brady LaBeouf is going to lead us back to the green flag. We'll take a short break here on Racecraft TV. Don't go anywhere. We're still racing for a championship here from Virtual Charlotte. When we go back green, it's stage number 2 coming up.
Welcome to Hickory on a beautiful 80-degree Easter Saturday.
Welcome back to iRacing's Virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway. It is the championship race for the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series. Joshua Lee back with you here in the booth alongside Jordan Hicks, and we are ready to go back to racing. Under the yellow flag for the stage number 1 break, but right before that we did have an incident on the racetrack, a 3-wide moment gone wrong that now brought us into the stage 2 break, and we're ready to go back to racing here from Virtual Charlotte. Ready to crown a champion tonight. We still have a couple more stages left. Stage number 2, then we'll go into stage 3, and that'll lead us into the championship fight at the end. We are ready to go back to racing, and we are back underway. Stage number 2 is green, and what a start for Brady LaBeouf. He chose the outside line on the restart. He was the control truck, so he will go off and away into the race lead. And right behind him is Robbie Richards. Stephen Thomas going to try and fight by a handful of trucks, but closer to the back. Jacob Klinkart lets a couple by, but Taylor Peacock still in the teens when it comes to his position on the racetrack, Jordan. Bad race gone worse now for Taylor Peacock because he still sits mid-pack. Dan Hagen hits the wall in front of him.
Definitely a tough spot for that 81 machine right now, especially when he's a playoff driver. Everybody else is in top 3, and poor Peacock is just in 12th right now. So definitely a lot of things mechanically going wrong, and you can see he's into that outside wall. So everything going wrong for Peacock right now. Hopefully he can shape up his race to really try and fight with the guys up front, but with the way he's looking right now, everything just seems like more damage on and on. You can see a car into the wall. Not quite sure who it is, but a lot of drivers hitting the wall, and the caution flag comes back out.
That was Kyle Hess, and the caution flag has been brought out by the admin. We will rack him up for a restart. That was Kyle Hess who got into the wall. Let's see exactly what happened here. Drivers racing in front of him. I'm not sure if it was contact or if he just got a little bit loose. Oh, it was contact. He got doored by the 97 of Jose Luis Rivera, and that sent Kyle Hess up and into the outside wall. We were seeing a couple of drivers get a little bit antsy, and it looks like just some small contact leads to the first yellow flag or the second yellow flag for an incident tonight. The first yellow flag for an incident blended into our stage 1 break. And now we are back on the yellow flag and back behind the iRacing pace truck. Not expecting anybody to work their way into the pit lane here, considering the fact that they just pitted under the stage break. But Jordan, at this point, 3 championship competitors fill up the top 3. If you're Taylor Peacock right now sitting in 11th, what's going through your mind? Because right now it just doesn't look like he has the speed in that number 81 to contend with a lot of these drivers out here tonight, let alone the championship 3 who sit in the top 3 positions that he's trying to race against for the championship. He needs to try something, fly that Hail Mary pass up and into the air and hope the receiver catches it, because right now he can really only just hope right now, unless he comes into the stage 2 break, makes the necessary adjustments on that truck and gets back out onto the racetrack. He just needs to hope that his strategy works right, or that the top 3 just wreck out of the race.
And it's just definitely a lot of pressure for him, because he wants to race up with the guys in the playoffs and wanting to go for that championship along with them, but he's got to really think about the drivers in the middle, because we've seen a little bit of rough racing so far tonight. So he might just want to try hard enough to push himself to get up higher, because he knows that the guys up in P1, 2, and 3 may not be as rough as the guys behind. So maybe that is a clearer sort of vision for him to want to push harder to try and get up there. But like you mentioned, that 81 machine is definitely not on his side here tonight.
And I think another big thing is that, can he push? Because we have seen throughout that first opening stage, the tires go away so fast. I mean, we had, after about 25 laps or so, down 1.5 seconds on lap time. And this track is not normally one that we talk about being super abrasive. You know, we talk about Atlanta being one of those tracks that's super abrasive. We talk about Dover, the concrete tracks, being super abrasive. But it's the same thing here at Charlotte, and I think it's also because of the amount of on-throttle time these drivers have, right? I mean, you and I have both raced Charlotte. We've raced Charlotte together before in these Class C trucks, and you know, most of your time is spent on throttle. You're rarely off the throttle. Once those tires wear, then you have to start lifting off the throttle to make the corners, but other than that, you are flat out on the gas, just trying to get around as quickly as you possibly can. So that just wears away the tires so quickly. So can Taylor Peacock take the risk and really start pushing once we go back under the green flag, or are those tires not going to hold up enough?
And that's the thing too, he doesn't really want to push too hard. I know I've been mentioning he not should try, but might try and start to push, but he's got to be careful if he's going to do so, because those tires can definitely throw you into that outside wall. Because I've known from experience, you can run one lap, you are perfectly fine, and then you go to another, and then you could be into that outside wall, because how much your tires can change in one lap. So you definitely got to be careful with what route you take, and whatever route the 81 takes, hopefully it might be on a side other than the truck tonight.
How is Peacock going to get back to the front and contend for this championship? At the moment, LaBeouf currently leads that championship fight. Richards and Thomas sit behind him. The top 3 are all championship competitors. You go back from there, and you find the final championship competitor, Taylor Peacock, a bit of a wells of the way down the road at P11. What can he do off of this restart? Try and get himself back up towards the front. We've only concluded a handful of laps here in the second stage of the night. We'll be going back to green with about 22 laps left here in the second stage, and back to the outside line goes Brady LaBeouf in the 9 machine. He has been choosing that outside line over the inside pretty much the entire night, Jordan, and doesn't seem to be hurting him at all. It seems to be his dominant line. That can become trouble, however. Once those tires start to wear, it seems like whoever saves their tires the best, they can use that inside line, is going to be the faster truck. We saw with Robbie Richards when he took the when he took the lead away towards the end of stage number 1. We'll see if we see the same thing here in stage 2.
And it's going to be interesting because, like you mentioned, the 48 is not done fighting yet because he was on the tail of the 9 and he is ready to take over that championship spot. So when that green flag waves, Josh, it's all game on from here on out till possibly another caution or maybe even the end of the stage.
Let's see what is going to happen here in stage number 2. Not even halfway done with the stage. We still have plenty of racing left here in stage 2. And we get ready to put them back under the green flag as the pace truck pulls off and back into the pit lane. We are ready to go green flag racing again as Brady LaBeouf is on the gas. He's going to grab that early lead. And Richard's going to have to settle for second place at the moment. Take a look back from there. Fighting for third, Stephen Thomas trying to hold off Blake Lothian's charge, and that is exactly what he is going to do. Tries to slide up, but can't do it there going into 3. Lothian holds off for the moment, and take a look at the front of the field. Lothian trying to get back up here to fight for the race lead as Robbie Richards tries to fight Brady LaBeouf for the lead in the championship as they head back to 1. Jordan Richards is all over his back bumper, but he needs to remember there's still a lot of racing left to go. It'll be 100 to go next time by. He can't win the championship in this one pass, but he certainly can lose it as he's going to have to give way to Blake Lothian, the 59. Shot out of a cannon on this restart.
And it just looks like the 48 was getting a little squirrely. You can see how much time he lost. And right on by, well, side by side right now is Lothian. So, like you mentioned, a crazy just blow straight through to the lead. Blake Lothian just had a run of a lifetime to really push himself into P number 1, and you can just see the 9, the 48, the 23, and everyone behind just really trying to hold their lines because everyone seems like they're at least a little bit squirrely along, like we just saw recently with the 48 just giving a little bit of room to the 23. So this is really heating up to really change over that championship battle.
Trying to change it over as quickly as he can as Thomas goes to the inside of Robbie Richards, going for that 3rd spot on the racetrack. Only going to be the 2nd spot in the championship. And as they race back through 3 and 4, back to the front straightaway, you can see the difference in line starting to come in. Richards running the same line as Brady LaBeouf. That 9 machine was parked up on the outside line. Couldn't do much about it up there. Now as they race back through turns 1 and 2 to the back straightaway, Richards going to look back to the bottom. Taylor Peacock still sits in a lonely P12. Needs to be up here racing with these championship 3 if he wants an opportunity at the trophy. Unfortunately, he is much of the way down the order as here comes Robbie Richards back to the inside, looking for the lead in the championship. He's got it as they go back into 1. Can he hold it is the question. And the answer this time is still a no, as LaBeouf is going to hold on to that spot. Richards pulls back into line. Now LaBeouf needs to worry about Blake Lothian in front of him. If he starts to get held up, Jordan, that can push him back into his championship rivals. Once the 59 starts lapping slower than the 9, he needs to get by him immediately to put 1 truck in between himself and Richards behind.
And you can see any sort of door can open and change anything right now. And like you just said, Josh, the 9 is going for that lead to try and separate him from the guys behind. And so the 59 is really just trying to sit up there and just run his race, but the 9 is right there behind them, along with the 48 and the 23. So a lot of action going on right now for these drivers as the 9 really just wants to put some room between him and the 48.
is not putting any room in between them right now, as LaBeouf went for that move, and that opened the door, like you were mentioning, for the 48 of Robbie Richards to start working his way in there. A little bit of a side-by-side battle further back. Chris Cinnamon goes side-by-side with Jose Luis Rivera. Adam Newbert's in this fight. Keith Bradley is in here as well. And they'll all race together from 5th on back for about 4 spots. Taylor Peacock is, quite frankly, nowhere near this fight, trying to hold off Devin Painter behind him and trying to catch up to this lead pack as Stephen Gregory sits at the tail end of it. Then you go through Jacob Klinkart, Raul Meza, and more, and then you find the championship competitors at the front as Blake Lothian leads the way. He is not a championship competitor, but has shown great speed this season, Jordan, and up front running here looks to be his best chance at a win, but he needs to prove that he has a long run pace in that truck, because we really saw in stage number 1 that was much more short run, as after about half the stage was gone, Brady LaBeouf was able to pass him for the race lead. Already a much better stage for the 59 as he still leads with about 13 to go.
And it does seem like he's got a lot of speeds at sometimes on the track, but it also seems like the 9 really gets up on that back bumper. So like you mentioned, the 59 is having a great run out here tonight, but if he really wants this win, he just has to fight off the 9 and do what he's got to keep doing, because he's doing a great job as of right now, just really running the, I believe, the outside line, going down into the middle line, not the middle line, the inside line, so a mixture of the two. So a great run for the 59 of Blake Lothian out here tonight.
Looking for race win number 1 for Blake Lothian in the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series. We go back to a battle between a couple of non-championship competitors. Jose Luis Rivera goes to the inside as Chris Cinnamon runs on the outside line. Rivera trying to get by him on the inside. Go on board with the 97 of Jose Luis Rivera. A good night for him so far, looking for this spot to make it just a little bit better, but not able to do much against the 3 of Cinnamon. Cinnamon going to power around the outside line, put the 97 back into P number 6. So the 3 championship competitors continue to run nose to tail, second through fourth, and Blake Lothian leads the way. Taking a look at this group, I'm not sure, Jordan, if Richards and Thomas can't get by LaBeouf, or if they're not really trying to get by LaBeouf yet, because last time by, Richards did lap faster than LaBeouf, and Stephen Thomas lapped faster than both of them. So I'm wondering if they're trying to buy some time and make sure that they make that move late to get the championship, but that also then becomes a challenge, because if they wait too long, then the door won't be open and they can't make the move to win this championship.
And that's what I think is going to be really interesting to watch for here tonight, because both the 48 and the 23 have really been running super close to the 9 so far tonight. So whenever that time comes, whenever that door opens for them, that may be their time to strike, and maybe they're doing it so they're having a little bit of a draft from each other, maybe to try and pass through the 9, but you never know what could really happen, because everybody is just so close to really even tell what's about to happen.
Well, I can tell you what's about to happen on the racetrack, and it is this battle for the lead as Lothian goes to the outside, LaBeouf to the inside. Can LaBeouf power around is the big question. Yes, he can. He uses that inside line to his advantage, and he is going to clear the 59 off of turn number 4. Now that gives a challenge to Robbie Richards behind, but take a look at Lothian taking another peek to the outside. And is not going to be able to do anything about it there. So now Lothian is going to be in between LaBeouf and Richards. It's the perfect opportunity for LaBeouf to start to pull away. Robbie Richards was able to win stage number 1. Let's see who's going to get stage number 2. Lothian's not done. He takes another peek to the inside on the 9 of Brady LaBeouf off of turn number 4. The challenge is still there, but LaBeouf with a great run off the corner at turn number 4 is going to protect that lead. Now, they still have a guaranteed caution coming up, Jordan, and of course, anything that can happen in stage number 3, but the race lead for LaBeouf here is going to give him a much better opportunity to win the race off of the pit lane, and he already had a great opportunity to win the race off of the pit lane because he's in that number 1 pit stall.
And you get to see him in the 59 really just trying to run away from the guys behind to maybe have the 9 really use that outside line to get away from the 59 as well. So maybe he can put some room on the 48 and the 23. So you can see the 59 and the 9 right now just running side by side, really just running their own miniature race because they're going back and forth P1, P2 every single second. So great action from both the two drivers right there.
And take a look at the gap growing behind as Robbie Richards has fallen. About 4/10 now is the interval between the tail end of this top 2 group and Robbie Richards behind. That has since gotten a little bit closer off of turn number 4, but not close enough. As they continue to run side by side, Richards might be starting to poke his head into this battle. Cinnamon running the Kyle Larson line, borderline on the outside wall. Coming through turns 1 and 2. Lothian on the inside, trying to get by Brady LaBeouf. Here comes Robbie Richards. Big question here that I'm wondering, Jordan, is what exactly is Richards going to do in this battle at the front? Because as they continue to fight, he might try and insert himself and try and at least get by the 9 machine of LaBeouf, but he's not close enough to do it. Lothian continues to run away. A very interesting race we are seeing to develop here as LaBeouf was able to get by the 59, then the 59 went and took it right back, but Richards nowhere to go. Bit of a stack up as they go into 3. Now Richards and Thomas are going to be almost side by side as LaBeouf trying to go back to the inside of Lothian. Here comes Richards for a spot, 3 wide for the championship lead. They go across the start finish line, 3 abreast, back into 1, they go back to 2, and Robbie Richards on the inside trying to challenge Brady LaBeouf for the lead in the championship. With just a handful of laps to go in the stage, it'll be 1 to go in the stage this time by. This is going to be huge as Lothian's going to get the stage win, but this is really deciding, Jordan, who's going to come into the pit lane first.
These drivers really battling it out, and it just seems like it's gonna be the 9 of Brady LaBeouf taking home P number 2 and first in the championship. So a lot of stress on him on that one because the 48 was really upping his game. He gained those 4/10 that we were talking about back in the matter of seconds. So a great recovery for the 48 and a great hold of the championship spot from the 9 of Brady LaBeouf.
The caution flag is going to fly. I believe it was 1 lap early. Yes, it was. Hearing an error from race control called 1 lap early, that yellow flag, but it is still called. This still will be your stage number 2 break. So that means Blake Lothian is going to walk away with your stage number 2 victory. And he'll lead the field down into the pit lane. Brady LaBeouf sits in second in the first pit stall. We expect him to win this race coming off of the pit lane. We'll take a short break here on Racecraft TV. Stage number 3 in the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series Championship is coming up next. We're gonna crown a champion after just about 75 more laps, and it's coming up right after this.
is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in endorsed series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars, and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone, and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back to live coverage of the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series Championship Finale from virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway. Joshua Lee back here in the booth. Alongside me is Jordan Hicks. All cameras tonight were created by Istvan Balo at trackcams22.com. And Jordan, ready for stage number 3. This one will give us a pit stop under green flag about halfway through. Of course, if they end up wrecking and we do have a yellow flag, that will change things. But at the moment, if we go green to the end through this stage at about halfway with about 45-ish laps to go, we'll see the field come down into the pit lane for green flag stops. I think that's what's going to be the catalyst in this championship, because a mistake on pit road by one of these championship competitors is going to basically just completely take them out of the race. That is not what they need or want.
And I'm curious to know who might even try and extend it. We talk about this every single week. We're wondering if a driver will try and push it a little further than the other, but they can't really take it too long to really have not enough time to really get on the pit road, get a new set of, or a fresh tank of fuel, and just really get back out on the track in time to really keep their lead. So making sure you get back on that track and go into pit lane at the right time will definitely be key, as you don't want to open doors for any other drivers out there on the track tonight.
Field 2x2, ready to go back under the green flag. Brady LaBeouf, who sits in the lead at the moment, is your championship leader. Robbie Richards behind him on that inside lane of row 2 sits second. Stephen Thomas inside lane of row 3 sits third, and you have to go all the way back to P14 to find the next championship competitor, and the fourth and final one of Taylor Peacock. Ready to go back to racing, and we will let you hear the sounds of these trucks as we go. Racecraft TV, Sounds of Speed. The final stage of the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series season is green. Side-by-side battle at the front as Brady LaBeouf continues to set the pace. He battles with Blake Lothian, trying to get that lead and protect it too. He's going to be close. He's not able to clear him. Thomas has fallen back a little bit here, Jordan. He's at the tail end of this group that is running about 3 rows deep. Now 2 of them 2x2. Stephen Thomas stuck in a bit of a tough spot right now as he sits in 6th, just nowhere to go.
And he just seems like he's stuck on the bottom. Yes, he's behind the 48 of Robbie Richards. He can, if he gets like a clear spot, he can maybe run with him. But everyone just seems like they're crowded around, really mixing if they want to run that outside and maybe try and push down on the inside. And you can see drivers in the back. That's the 18 of Keith Bradley and another driver behind. don't believe the caution's going to come back out, so not quite sure what exactly was the cause of that. As we take a look at the replay, because it just seemed like they came down on each other. I believe it's the 6 behind the 18, and that's Adam Newbert.
I'm wondering if this was Jose Luis Rivera and the 18 to Keith Bradley getting involved. Let's see. They're coming off of turn number 2. I believe it happened here in turn number 3. Let's find out. Oh, yeah. They just came together going down and into the corner. Not sure how that started. We'll take one more look at it. I believe the 18, yeah, the 18 came up just a little bit too much, taps the 97, and the 97 able to save it. What a save from Rivera. But that does not put us under the yellow flag. We are able to stay green and take a look at the gap now that Brady LaBeouf has put over the drivers behind him. About 3.5 tenths over Blake Lothian in the 59. A great start to this final stage for Brady LaBeouf as they run back through turns 1 and 2. LaBeouf loves to see what he is seeing in his mirror, and especially if Robbie Richards and Blake Lothian start to go battling, because that'll only give Brady LaBeouf more opportunity to pull away at the front. Stephen Thomas running behind, trying to find any way past these drivers as well that he can. Not able to get there, not able to get close enough. Richards going to try and work his way past the 59 of Lothian. This is going to be his best opportunity to catch up to Brady LaBeouf that he's going to have. And now, Jordan, take a look at the gap that Brady LaBeouf is putting on the rest of the field. 7 tenths. If he continues to do this, continues to run strong here, he is going to reach a point where the drivers behind him are going to need to pull out some insane pit strategy to even catch him, because if we go green all the way to the checkered flag right now, Brady LaBeouf running this far up the track, unless he makes some sort of monumental mistake, he basically has this race in the bag.
And I do believe we've seen this before. The 9 of Brady LaBeouf just really running away from P2, 3, and 4 from this point. So he's really just trying to put a lot of room behind them and just get to that part where he can sort of feel a little bit of comfort in that 9 machine to really hold on to P number 1 and that championship spot, other than losing it from the guys behind him.
So LaBeouf with a great lead, pulling away from Lothian behind. Robbie Richards there as well. Other championship competitor Stephen Thomas is also there. That near incident with the 97 and the 18 definitely has made this field spread out a little bit more than we have seen in the opening 2 stages. But we do still have a side-by-side moment. That's Jacob Klinkart going to the inside of what looks to be the 3 of Chris Cinnamon, and he's able to get by him and put a pretty good gap as Cinnamon going into the corner loses a ton of time. Mez is there as well. He'll run the inside line. Of course, this is the final race of the season, not just for the championship competitors. We're not just crowning a champion, but final race of the season for everybody here in this series. And what a season it has been. We have seen some amazing racing over these 20 rounds, tonight being the 20th round of the season. A lot of unique winners, and at the same time, a couple of drivers who have definitely stood out as drivers to watch and as favorites when it comes to this series. And all 4 of them are pretty much in the championship 4. I think the only driver, Jordan, who had a strong season that missed out on the championship 4 was Keith Bradley at 3 wins. Dustin Scruggs at 2 wasn't competing for a championship, so Keith Bradley, most wins on the season, or tied for most wins on the season with Stephen Thomas at 3, misses out on the championship 4. But what a season we have seen, and what racing we have seen, and I don't think it's done yet, as Blake Lothian, even though he's a non-championship competitor, has a car to contend with the 9, and look who he's bringing in tow, the other 2 championship competitors in the 48 and 23.
And it just seems like the guys behind have really started to get a run on that 9 machine, so the pressure is on a little bit more for Brady LaBeouf because he doesn't want to lose that spot. And you can see the 48 trying to really run that inside line, but he sort of switches to the outside line as well. So trying to really get some sort of run off the 59 to try and make it stick to that inside line. He's trying to make it work with some help from the 23, but it just doesn't seem like it is going his way as of right now.
And what a run for LaBeouf at this point. Blake Lothian way off the pace to the outside. I'm wondering if he wanted to let these championship drivers go and race it on for the championship. The 59 is going to fall to fourth with 62 to go. And this is going to leave this championship fight wide open. As here comes Robbie Richards. Here comes Stephen Thomas. 3 championship competitors at the front. A disastrous night for Taylor Peacock. He sits in P16, 9 seconds back from this lead group. That is the opposite of what the 81 was looking for tonight. But here is the battle for the championship. It's heating up again. Robbie Richards to the bottom, looks for the race lead, and the lead in the championship side by side off of turn number 4. And Robbie Richards goes back to the race lead and will reclaim his championship. He'll put one hand on the trophy as now Stephen Thomas goes to the inside of Brady LaBeouf. How quickly, Jordan, he was in the lead and has just fallen now, battling for P3 on the racetrack. He's able to hold on to P2, luckily, from the 23.
And I'm wondering if those tires are really starting to impact him because you can see he's just dropping so far right now. These 2 drivers behind him now in front of him. So if the 9 wants to get back into that lead, he's got to get into a groove to where he's comfortable with those tires because it just seems like they have worn off and just thrown all the rubber to just shreds on those tires. So a game changer of a move for the 9 is going to be needed if he really wants to fight and get back up to that championship spot.
He went from leading the championship to now being third as Peacock makes a move on Eric Zimmerman for P15, still 10 seconds back from this lead battle. So with that, Robbie Richards in the 48 is going to go to the lead of the championship, sitting in the perfect spot for it as well. 58 laps to go. Expecting pit stops here in about 13 laps time. And once that happens, expecting pretty much everybody to take 4 tires. That's not really the debate. The debate is, when are these drivers going to pit? Because they have about 40 to 45 on the fuel window. Some drivers can even, if they're really saving, at least in the more professional ranks of iRacing, make it about 50 laps. We can expect about a range of 40 to 50 on that fuel window for these drivers. So looking at when they can pit, we can really expect lap with 50 to go, fuel window opens, 40 to go, that fuel window is going to, that pit window is going to start to close. But the tires is the main thing I think we need to talk about, Jordan, because we've seen undercut versus overcut, or short pit versus try and stretch that fuel tank a long way. I think in this particular scenario, if you can stretch that fuel tank long, you'll be in a good spot. But if you reach traffic on those fresh tires, it's going to become infinitely worse. If you're in clean air with 10 lap fresher tires than one of your championship rivals, that one's going to be an easy one if you can catch up.
And that's the thing too, so I guess time will tell, because I'm really looking forward to see who's actually going to be that first driver to possibly even stretch that gap out and really just go and just extend their time on the track to wait and go into that pit lane. And who knows, we might see the top 3 drivers just follow each other, and they may even go in these next coming laps. So I'm looking forward to see when they will do it and even how they will do it to maybe even change up that championship lead right now.
Of course, still now at the line, 54 laps to go. A ton of time left, and a lot of time left to decide how this race is going to conclude. As Richards leads, he's going to have a bit of a challenge now, as here comes Stephen Thomas in the 23, looking for a fight at the front of the field. With that gap being about 1.5 tenths and staying about pretty consistent there. Both of them on pretty equal footing when it comes to lap times and when it comes to tires. A 31.885 last time by for Stephen Thomas, a 31.890 for Stephen Thomas. So these drivers are running fairly close together at the front, and just so happens to be the current fight for the championship lead. Remember, nothing is set in stone with this championship until they cross that start-finish line at the checkered flag. Once they do, then whoever crosses it first wins that championship, just like the NASCAR Cup Xfinity and Truck Series in the new playoff grid format that was debuted a couple of years ago. First taker into the pit lane, it's Devin Painter, and I believe this one is going to be for damage repair. Yes, he is. He is going to tow it back, and he's going to keep himself in the pit lane now. Or he actually stopped in the pit lane and then towed it into his stall. So, not a planned pit stop from the 64 of Devin Painter. 51 to go. And these planned pit stops are going to start to happen. As take a look at this one, Blake Lothian goes right on by Brady LaBeouf. I mentioned it, Jordan. LaBeouf starting to go the opposite way. Now he went from leading the race by a couple of tenths and being the driver that Richards and Thomas would have to pull out a weird pit strategy to be able to beat. Now he's the one that's going to have to try and go crazy with the pit strategy to get himself back into the lead.
And I wonder if when he gets into the pit lane to get those fresh tires, he may be back to square one and really just be on his A game like he was at the start of this race. So he's might just be waiting for maybe a caution flag or when he thinks it's the right time to pit. And you can see the 81 of Taylor Peacock dropping into the pit lane right now.
The first of our championship takers, however he is down the order, has been running in the teens all night. But he is still our first driver of our championship competitors to pit. And he is going to go for 4 tires, 2 cans of Sunoco fuel, out and away he goes. This is his Hail Mary shot at the championship. Robbie Richards and Stephen Thomas continue to fight. Jordan, I'm wondering when these drivers are going to bite the bullet and come into the pit lane. They're coming up on close to the end of their fuel run. They've pitted about 31 laps ago, so it's going to be about another 10 to 15 laps before we actually see them come down into the pit lane. But wondering if anybody's going to go for this early pit stop. Taylor Peacock going for the long haul strategy at the end of this race. I'm not sure if that's going to be the smart one, but at this point, the 81 didn't really have any other choice than to try and go for a Hail Mary strategy like this one.
And it's probably the best card he could actually play because he was just having a lot of bad luck at the start of this race. So maybe dropping into the pit lane, getting some fresh tires and some more fuel might be his key to get up into that top battle. Yes, he's going to be a few laps down, but you never know what could happen as we watch these drivers and await for them to come down to the pit lane, which could be any time, and it could be a long time from now, as the 23 of Stephen Thomas just right on the back bumper of the 48, waiting for any certain move for that door to open to try and take over that championship spot.
Looks like at this point, he might be thinking, fuel window's coming up. Let's try and pass him in the pit lane or save the battle for when he's about to pit, because it looks like he's getting decent runs, but it also looks like with that gap staying so consistent, he might be letting off and letting the 48 Robbie Richards lead this race. I could be wrong. He could be actively trying to pass him as he takes a peek to the bottom, but nothing's going to follow through. Wondering if he's just buying his time, sitting in second place and waiting for the pit stops to come in. As we cross over 34 laps on these stints, this is the longest stint these drivers have run this race. 2.5 lost for most of the field on the time. And that is all due to the tire wear. And we're wondering if we will see any tire problems for any of these drivers, any blown tires, or if they're going to be able to complete this stint on the set of Goodyears they have on their truck. very interesting how these strategies are starting to work out, and we're gonna find out who is going to get this championship as Richards and Thomas continue to fight. Richards with his 2 wins this season at Texas and Kentucky, Jordan. Normally I'd want to take him as the favorite at an intermediate, but Stephen Thomas with a win at Gateway, a win at Nashville, and a win at Richmond. Yes, they're more so short tracks. Gateway and Nashville are more hybrid short tracks, but they still do require a lot of braking. Richmond being a short track as well, under 1 mile. I'd honestly choose Robbie Richards over Stephen Thomas at this racetrack, but that 23 has been on rails all night tonight and has not let up when it comes to fighting for the race lead.
And especially for Thomas, going for 3 for 3 here tonight, and it's even for the championship, so I'd have to pick Thomas over Robbie Richards. Even though they've both been really consistent against each other, they've really just been on each other this whole entire night, so it's definitely going to be coming down to the line on who's going to win the championship. But my cards are going to go with this 23 of Stephen Thomas, as he's just been on that back bumper of that 48 machine waiting for a mistake to happen.
Well, not making any mistakes is Robbie Richards. He has not put a foot wrong so far tonight. Similar to Texas, although granted, he did lead a good bit of that Texas race, but at the end of that race is what won him that checkered flag when Blake Lothian had to bring it down into the pit lane for late service. Kentucky, he was not really dominant at the beginning, but once stage 3 hit, he started the domination. Looking at Stephen Thomas, his wins, all of them have come in the late race as he takes another peek to the inside. 40 to go this time. No change of hands at the front yet. Robbie Richards continues to lead. Stephen Thomas now sits in the second spot, just sitting and waiting at this point. Blake Lothian's gonna join him into the battle. What can Blake Lothian do up here at the front as the championship leaders continue to fight it out? 39 to go this time by as they come across the line as we go 40 on the stint, 40 laps since these drivers last came into the pit lane. The pit window is open. Non-championship competitor Blake Lothian is working his way into the pit lane. When will we see the rest of your championship competitors? I missed it, but Brady LaBeouf did come into the pit lane last time by. So that means LaBeouf has finished his stop. He goes 1 lap down. Taylor Peacock, other championship competitors, finish his stop, and here they come. It looks like Stephen Thomas was down on the apron, ready to come in for service, Jordan. Robbie Richards saw that in his mirror and called his bluff and came down into the pit lane. So these 2 championship competitors are into the pit lane. Big question is, what can Brady LaBeouf do? He's still 1 lap down. He's going to have to pass them on the racetrack, and he will. Can he make it around quick enough to take over this race lead, or is it going to go to the winner of this race off the pit lane?
This is what I'm thinking, is when I said this a few laps ago, when Brady LaBeouf was going to come down on the pit lane, this was going to be his time to shine, to really gain that time he's lost on the track. And you can see the 48 already pulling out onto the track. And so I don't know if Brady LaBeouf is going to be able to make it in time, along with the 23 right behind the 48. Josh, this is going to be a close one because the 9 machine has a lot of speed right now, so anything can happen, and a lot of fresh tires for these 3 guys, so this is going to be an interesting battle for the championship.
Here they are. Look at LaBeouf on the outside. He's going to power around. And with only 2 lap older tires, LaBeouf has just put himself back into the conversation. But here's the big thing. We saw him through that run in stage number 3. He did not have a long run truck, but he was able to, in stage number 2, grab that stage win with arguably a late run. So, with still 36 laps to go, it'll be 35 this time by, LaBeouf's challenge is not done. Because yes, he has the lead in the championship, Jordan. Yes, he's ahead of his competitors. but he needs to worry about this long run and if the car is going to be able to do it, because we have seen that the 23 and the 48 over a long run come alive about halfway through.
And if I was Brady LaBeouf, I would just think as this is the first stage all over again, because it is only 35 laps to go, but it could be the most pressuring 35 laps of his life to really want to walk away with the championship, especially with P2 and 3 right behind. So a lot of pressure going on that 9 machine tonight, really just looking for that championship win and just to walk away victorious.
So LaBeouf leads. It's Thomas and Richards behind. This is the championship fight. Lothian is your current net race leader. He sits in front of this group. And here comes Stephen Thomas to the bottom. Lothian's gonna hold up Brady LaBeouf just for the moment. Now Lothian's not going to give way. He's actually going to go down, protect the inside line from Stephen Thomas. He goes back to the outside, but Thomas is going to force his way to the inside. The 23 of Stephen Thomas takes the lead, not only of the championship, but he's battling for the net race lead after the green flag pit stops cycle through. Rivera, Cinnamon, and Mata still need to pit, but with 32 to go this time by, give the lead over to Stephen Thomas. Not only of the championship, but once the green flag pit stop cycle back, it'll be the 23 in the lead of this race. What a race we're seeing from Stephen Thomas right now, Jordan. He has been fast all night. Now he is especially showing it as LaBeouf has fallen off the pace again.
He's just trying to put some time. This is what Brady LaBeouf tried to do with the 48, so they're really using the 59 car as sort of that barrier in between the two. So the 23 just trying to run away with the lead, and especially going 3 for 3, Josh. The 23 machine is looking bad fast out there on the track tonight. With 31 to go at the line, Stephen Thomas is really looking comfortable for that lead.
And take a look at this group. They're continuing to run in a pack of 4. Still having an opportunity to grab this win is Robbie Richards. LaBeouf has not lost his opportunity, but falling off the pace of this group is not what he wanted. Chris Cinnamon stays on the racetrack. Jose Luis Rivera still there. Caution flag! This is going to change everything as the caution flag flies. Eric Zimmerman's around on the back straightaway. And this is going to throw a gigantic wrench into the championship battle, Jordan. It looked like Zimmerman just lost power, slow on the back straightaway, and that brings out the yellow flag. He pulled down. It looked like, oh, he hits the wall. So he hits the wall there, slams into the outside wall, loses the motor, and he coasted it all the way around to the back straightaway where it eventually stopped, and that brings out the yellow flag.
Definitely a tough break for that 94 machine, just completely running it into the outside wall multiple times. So that unfortunately is most likely going to end the 94 machine's night here at Charlotte. And Josh, this is going to open a few doors for these drivers, because this could change the lead for Thomas. This could change the lead for Robbie Richards. You never know what could happen when the green flag drops again. So we're going to have to wait after this checkered flag, because this is going to be an interesting, I would say, 28 or 27 laps to go when we go back racing.
Well, here's another thing that is going to switch things up. Richards pits. LaBeouf stayed out. Thomas stayed out. Taylor Peacock has since retired the car. He is in the pit lane 13 laps down. His championship hopes are done. But Richards pits the car for tires. This is a very interesting call from the 48. He's going to lose a ton of track position. Let's see exactly how much he's going to lose here. He's not going to win the race off pit road to Lothian. He's going to go down into P6 because Thomas, LaBeouf, Newbert, and Meza stay on the racetrack. The championship fight is far from over. We'll go back to racing inside of 30 laps to go in the championship. You don't want to go anywhere because we are getting ready to crown a champion in the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series. And right after this, we go back green. Ready to decide the championship. 25 laps to go. More specifically, it'll be 26 when we go back to green here in the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series Championship finale. Field back to 2x2. Stephen Thomas, Brady LaBeouf on the front row. You got to look back to row 3, outside line, to find the 48 of Robbie Richards. He pitted under that yellow flag. He has 10-lap fresher tires than the championship 2 at the front. What can Richards do in 26 laps time? A champion will be decided at the checkered flag tonight. It will be the 3rd unique champion in 3 seasons here. Let's find out. Pace truck back into the safety of pit lane. Green flag back in the air. Stephen Thomas is on the throttle, and he is going to get the best jump out of anybody at the start there. Going back into turn number 1, LaBeouf going to protect 2nd place as Meza and Newbert go side by side behind him. What can Robbie Richards do? He is fighting. We go on board with the 48. He wants to get back up to the lead. He is so close, trying to get by these 2 drivers in front of him on worn tires. And you can see Jordan gets sideways coming off turn 4. Those tires are not at the temperature. We know how loose these trucks can get off the exit of these turns when the tires are cold.
The 48 just definitely in a tough spot right now, just trying to keep that 48 machine just straight on the track and just keep it going. And the 59 is around. Not too sure if they really made contact or not, but you can just see nowhere for that 42 machine to go, and that's going to bring out another caution, racking these guys up again to go back for a restart here at Charlotte with 25 to go.
Stephen Gregory involved, Jacob Klinkart involved, Clint Mata involved. I believe it was exactly what I was talking about there, Jordan. The worn tire, or the new tires, when they're cold, they lose so much grip. They really need to get up to a working temperature, and they were not up to a working temperature for the 59. Clint Motto went into the inside wall as well and went up and into the air. Klinkard, however, basically drove right into the side of Clint Motto. Let's go on board. Oh my, he wrecked Clint Motto there. Nowhere to go for the 59. And the 42 just absolutely slammed into them. So now we're back under the yellow flag. And Jordan, this poses an interesting scenario for Stephen Thomas and Brady LaBeouf, because now if they pit, yes, they'll have fresher tires, but then they're going to go back down the order. It looks like Brady LaBeouf is going to pit. This is going to leave Stephen Thomas out on the racetrack. Stephen Thomas is going to be on the oldest tires out of anybody at the front of this field. Jordan, this is not the strategy that he needs to be on, especially with fresher tires. Robbie Richards only about a lap under green on those tires, sitting right next to him on this restart. I just do not see this working out for Stephen Thomas unless we have multiple cautions leading to the end. But if we go green for 20 laps all the way after this restart, Stephen Thomas is going to be in for a bad result.
And you know, it's definitely going to be really interesting, because this is a heart bumping moment for that 23 machine, because like you mentioned, he's the only one in the top 3 that have not pitted, and he's on older tires. But from what he's been doing so far tonight, he's been really running a fast line with his truck and really holding off a lot of guys behind him. So if his cards play out right, he might be able to defend off the 48, but it's definitely a hard thing to do, because Robbie Richards is on a mission tonight and really looking eyes forward to claiming that championship as his. So this is going to be an interesting restart to see who is going to take over this championship spot when that green flag flies.
Still working under the yellow flag. We're going green with, I believe it's going to be 2 to green this time by. Might end up being 1 to green. We'll take a look at those lights, and no, it won't. So it will be 2 to green. So we are going to be going back to the green with exactly 20 to go. Just looking at the stints on our timing screens, 16 laps since Stephen Thomas last hit pit road, 7 since Robbie Richards last hit pit road, and I believe about 5 of those laps for Robbie Richards are under yellow. Yes, the same amount would be under yellow for Stephen Thomas, but I mean, take a look at it. Stephen Thomas is still on older tires by a pretty considerable amount of time over Robbie Richards over this 20 lap run. Yes, Richards gonna have to put pressure on him. It's not gonna be easy, but Stephen Thomas is not going to get any favors. He is going to have to work for this one because of those worn tires, because he is leading the way. Robbie Richards is going to need to pull out all the stops to get by him, because the 23 is such a dominant driver, Jordan.
And you know, definitely, so it's going to be one to watch, and this 48 machine's going to have to definitely apply a lot of pressure, and you can't really count out the guys behind, because they may even play a part in this battle. So you never know, the 3 of Chris Cinnamon might be able to get in between the 2 and separate them. So it all times out when the green flag will get dropped, and you never really know what will exactly happen. So I'm looking forward to this restart to see if that 23 machine and 48 machine are going to be able to play it out and really run for that championship, which is going to be one race to really watch for and just see who comes out on top.
2 by 2. 1 to green. Restarting with 20 laps to go. 20 laps to decide a championship. Who is going to get it? Stephen Thomas and Robbie Richards on the front row, both champion competitors. You have to go a little bit further back to 7th place, Brady LaBeouf, to find the 3rd and final championship competitor. Here's Taylor Peacock. You can see him there in the pit lane. Damaged truck is out of this race. So as they come down the back straightaway, 20 to go at the green, and no time to waste. What can LaBeouf do? He just took his final pair of fresh Goodyear tires in the pit lane. Will he be able to climb his way up to the front? Or is it going to be the battle of Stephen Thomas trying to defend over fresher tires on the 48 of Robbie Richards? Off of 4 and back to the green flag. 20 to go for the championship. Will we go green to the end? Will we see another yellow flag? And it looks like a bad start for Robbie Richards. Cinnamon's going to take a peek to the bottom. Can Cinnamon get by him for second? It looks like he's going to be able to do it. Cinnamon goes into P2. Richards stuck on the outside, losing time now, as here comes the 97 Jose Luis Rivera to the bottom. This is a disastrous restart for Robbie Richards. Jordan, he's going to fall to P4.
A lot of time he has to gain back up to really catch up to Thomas, or else this is Thomas's race to win. And so he's got, like I said, a lot of room to make, and you can see the 9 of Brady LaBeouf sitting in 5th. So he's waiting for that door to open to really catch up to that 48 machine to take over P number 4, and who knows, may even get up into that top spot. So everybody's got a lot of work to do, which is the 9 of Brady LaBeouf and the 48 of Robbie Richards, but the 23 of Stephen Thomas right now just cruising and putting on a lot of time on P2 and the 48 of Robbie Richards.
All to play for the 23 of Stephen Thomas. Everything is on the line now. 18 to go. The last thing this 23 wants to see is a caution flag. That's just going to bunch the field back up, put Richards and LaBeouf right back behind him. The 97 and the 3 are going to continue to fight. Look at how aggressive Jose Luis Rivera is getting. Down to the inside of Chris Cinnamon, looking for that second spot, and he's going to take it. Drifts up the racetrack in front of the 3. And a great move for Jose Luis Rivera, but that's just going to open the door for Robbie Richards. Here he comes, back to the inside, goes the 48, and Richards, by inches, is going to reclaim that second position, not just on the racetrack, but second position in the championship. He hasn't cleared the 97 yet. He's going to go for it here in 3, and he's not going to be able to clear him here either. Yes, he will. Off of 4, he's able to get the power that he needs. Here comes Brady LaBeouf. How's he going to fit himself back into the championship picture? 16 laps to go. And like I mentioned, Jordan, this is all to play for the 23, because now the 48 behind him on fresher tires is closing the gap.
A lot of pressure on Stephen Thomas right now, as one move can make or break his whole entire race right now. So he's just got to defend off the 48 machine, because Robbie Richards is on a mission right now. He's been gaining spots left and right within these last few laps that we've been green, and so he's just really trying to make something work, running on the outside line to really try and get that move. He's into P1 right now, and he's gonna power it out on the outside line. So Robbie Richards is gonna claim the lead in the championship with the 23 of Stephen Thomas right behind, trying to take it back with the 9 behind them too. So a 3-way championship battle right now with 15 to go, 14 at the line.
Brady LaBeouf has perfectly inserted himself back into the championship picture. Stephen Thomas, running in second, is about to lose that spot to Brady LaBeouf. The power around the outside for the 9. A beautiful move. And the worn tires for Stephen Thomas are starting to show. And I think the worn tires might be starting to show for Robbie Richards as well. 13 to go at the line. And the block was thrown by the 48. He's going to have to pull out all the stops to keep the 9 of Brady LaBeouf behind. 16 laps since Richards last pit. 25 laps since Stephen Thomas last pit. 10 laps since Brady LaBeouf last hit his pit box. LaBeouf has the tires to do it. He's got the gap. It's down underneath the 10th. He's not able to do anything in turn 3. Jordan, this is exactly where Brady LaBeouf needed to be, right on the back bumper of Richards. Now Richards needs to do everything to keep the 9 behind him as the 23 scrapes the wall off turn 4.
Brady LaBeouf diving to the inside. He's going to get it. Hits the apron a little bit. It's going to throw him off a tiny bit, which is going to throw him back a few tenths from the 48 machine, but a great run from the 9 within those previous laps. Just a blazing fast time, and you can see he is not done with the 48 machine. We have 12 to go, 11 when we cross that line. Josh, there's so much time on these drivers' mind right now. There is so much pressure on the 48. Anything could happen. This 9 car is really looking for that championship spot as of right now, with the 48 just trying to defend him off second by second.
Robbie Richards, 2 wins on the season, is going for his first championship. Here comes LaBeouf to the bottom, side by side, as they race down the back straightaway. This is the battle for the championship. Into turn 3, can LaBeouf make it stick on the inside? Richards is gonna blend up the racetrack. He almost touches the wall. They almost make contact coming through the tri-oval. At the line, Brady LaBeouf is gonna hold on to the race lead. Robbie Richards now trying to take it back as they work their way through 1 and 2 to the back straightaway. Still side by side, still wheel to wheel. LaBeouf trying to take it away on the inside. Richards trying to hold him off on the outside line. Back to 3, no driver letting them get anything. Both of them within inches of each other at Virtual Charlotte. It's 9 to go at the line. LaBeouf still gonna stay side by side. He's still gonna fight for this championship. He got his first ever NASRA win this season in the Triple M Pulling Truck Series and made it to the Championship 4. And he is looking for his first championship as well, still side by side. And as they race back to 3, Richards is not letting LaBeouf get anything. The 48's going for his first championship in NASRA competition as well. He almost touches the wall again, and they almost make contact again on the front straightaway. It's 8 to go. This time by, they almost touch again into 1. Both of these drivers hungry for a championship. Neither one to give anybody any room on this racetrack. Still side by side down the back straightaway. This is everything. They almost touch again into 3. Sensational racing from Virtual Charlotte. This might be it for Richards. He's gonna have to give way. He's gonna try and challenge again. The crossover, the touch to the grass. 7 to go. Richards goes back to the inside, and the battle now is gonna swap hands as Richards on the inside line gets the advantage for the moment. Now, Jordan, everything that Richards needs to try is the exact opposite of the 9. If he's running the outside, run the inside. What either of these drivers don't want to see right now is a caution.
And Brady LaBeouf, we've seen him really just use so much power coming out of those exits on the corners. You can just see how fast he is. So that actually worked in his favor. And so he's going to dive back into the bottom and just put a couple tenths on Robbie Richards in the 48. So this is the 9's race. 6 to go, 5 to go at the line, Josh. The 9 has it in the bag right now. The 48 can wait for any sort of door to open to catch up. But Brady LaBeouf has that thing stuck to the bottom line and just running faster and faster away from the 48 to hopefully claim a championship here tonight.
That second caution lent Brady LaBeouf the opportunity to come into the pit lane. We restarted with 20 to go, and since then the 9 has used those fresh tires to his absolute advantage. And as he runs away now, Richards with a 2/10 gap has to try and make that up on 6-lap older tires. Can he do it is the big question. Off of turn 4, Robbie Richards has lost time, 2.5 tenths. Stephen Thomas has to deal with Meza and Newbert behind him. With 3 laps to go, next time by, time is running out for the 48 of Robbie Richards at the front of this field. As they roar down the back straightaway, LaBeouf got his first ever NASRA win at Las Vegas earlier this season. The jubilation off of that win, I think it's going to be bested if he wins his first ever championship in the same year. 3 to go. Don't count out Robbie Richards. He's still within 2.5 tenths. Now down to 2/10 as they go back to turn number 1. If we see a yellow flag, that is going to change everything in this race. No wrecks yet. No yellow flags yet. We'll see if we get the call from race control over a yellow flag on this final green flag lap. Once they reach the white flag, this race is official. The next flag will be the checker. 2 to go. Richards peeks to the outside, not able to do anything. He goes back into the tire tracks of the 9. He might have a bit of a slipstream. The 9 goes back to the inside to try and protect. Down the back straightaway for the penultimate time. What can Richards do? Is he going to have any opportunity to try and get around the 9 of Brady LaBeouf through turns 3 and 4? He can't get close enough here. He's not going to have the gift of a yellow flag as this time by, it is white flag. One final lap of the race, one final lap for the championship, and one final lap of season 3 of the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series. Through turns 1 and 2, it's a 1/10 of a gap in between the two championship competitors. What are they gonna do when they come to turn 3? Can the 48 do anything? He sends it to the bottom. It's not gonna be enough. And off of turn number 4, he might have a bit of a run. It's not gonna be enough. Joining Higginbotham and Wilson, it's Brady LaBeouf. He is your season 3 NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series champion. What a race. What a run for Brady LaBeouf. We counted him out, Jordan. We didn't think he had the truck. Then he came into the pit lane under the final caution flag of the night, put fresh tires on, and wins the championship at his second race win of the season.
Definitely a great way to come out victorious tonight. And as soon as I said, if he drops into that pit lane, gets some fresh tires, gets some more fuel, he is going to be reset back to square one and just be on his A game. And here he is, victory lane, in your NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series champion. Brady LaBeouf in the 9 is victorious and walking away home with the trophy here tonight from Charlotte.
3 seasons, 3 unique champions, and Brady LaBeouf has won it in season 3. He burns it down on the front straightaway. Brady LaBeouf is your NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series champion for season 3. An absolutely fantastic night for the 9 of Brady LaBeouf. We're going to talk to him, and we're going to talk to all of your championship competitors coming up right after this. We'll take a very short break here on Racecraft TV, and then it's results and a talk with all of your championship competitors right after this.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in endorsed series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars, and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone, and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series coverage on Racecraft TV. The finale is over. Brady LaBeouf is your champion. with Robbie Richards coming up less than a 10th short. Raul Meza, Adam Newbert, and Stephen Thomas, the third championship competitor, rounding out your top 5. Chris Cinnamon, Dana Shepard, Jeffrey Sickles, Jose Luis Rivera, and Blake Lothian gonna round out your top 10. Back from there, it is Stephen Gregory, Brandon Bullock, Jacob Klinkart, Clint Mata, and Keith Bradley rounding out your top 15. Eric Zimmerman, Dan Hagen, Taylor Peacock, your final championship competitor, finishing 41 laps down. We'll see what happened to him when he finished in P18. Devin Painter and Kyle Hess rounding out the top 20, with Logan Quinn rounding out the entire field after he finished down in P21. Time to talk with your champion who sits on the front straightaway, Brady LaBeouf. Brady, we heard the jubilation after your first ever win at Las Vegas. I'm willing to bet this one tops that times a million. Talk about what it means to be a champion in NASRA and to get the win in season 3.
Oh man, I mean, there is no words, right? Like, you work 21 weeks we've been doing this, and you work so hard and you finally get the win, and then you when you're going up against guys like Taylor Peacock, Robbie Richards, and Stephen Thomas, you have to win in a championship race. There's no room for error, and man, I'm so ecstatic right now. I can't even talk.
Coming into this race, you qualify on the pole. You're one of the fastest drivers in practice as well. Then it starts to go south for you towards the end of those long runs. But at any point, were you questioning if you had the truck to do it? And were you waiting for a miracle to happen?
I wouldn't say a miracle. I knew if I had a 30-lap run that I could hang with everybody, but for some reason, I guess I took off too strong on that second and third run, the beginning of stage 3, and I just burned everything up. I felt like Blake was holding me up just a little bit, so I figured, well, just let me lead it. But I guess whenever I got out in front and I started pulling away, I knew I was in trouble, and then I knew I had the short pit to get back ahead of them, and I ended up jumping them. But then I said, you know what, I'm not going to burn my stuff up again. I'm just going to be conservative about it. And then when the caution came out and I seen Robbie and Blake go down, I was like, damn, that was probably my opportunity. And then I said, well, I'm going to just wait it out and drive behind Steven. And we really never got a chance to do that because another caution came in, and I felt like Steven was going to pit. That's why I was committed to pittings, because I was like, well, I don't want to be on 10-lap tires compared to the other 3. So I was committed to pitting, and I was surprised whenever he didn't. But, man, it worked out. It worked out for me.
And the championship, third unique champion in 3 seasons. Who do you have to shout out? Who do you have to thank? Because I know so many people make everything possible for not just you, but this entire series. So who made this championship possible for you? How'd you get it done?
Oh, man, I got to thank the wife, the kids for allowing me to do this. Big shout out to my sponsors, NRE Power Systems and Mission 1 Esports. Big thanks to Triple M Pulling, Michael McKinnon. This would not be possible without Michael McKinnon. He is our leader. He runs everything. He does a great job. Mission 1 Esports, my teammates, Michael McKinnon, Keith Bradley, Robbie Richards, and Kyle Hess. They've been a big part of this. They're part of my success as well. And man, and you guys, the fans, Racecraft TV, thank you guys for an awesome season, and we look forward to doing another one with you guys one day.
Oh, thank you very much, and so much success for you this season, and it's all come to the crescendo here tonight. Congratulations on your championship, Brady, and hopefully we see many more from you in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Great to hear from your champion, Brady LaBeouf, in the 9. And now we go to the driver who was less than a 10th short at the finish, and it's Robbie Richards in the 48. Robbie, I know you wanted that one. You wanted it bad. You haven't won since the beginning of the season, but you rode momentum and consistency all the way through to the championship, and ultimately, like I said, less than a 10th was the gap at the finish. It's so close, but such a great season from you.
Yeah, man, let me tell you, dude, that don't get your fire burning in your woods, man. That was a lot of fun. It really was, and huge congratulations to Brady. He's me and him worked together all season, and we've raced hard all season. I mean, between all of us really, but between the four of us, man, it was no doubt that these four guys, all of us that was in here, deserved to be here. Not taking any away from anything else from anybody else, but it was a lot of fun, man. First and foremost, man, I want to thank you guys for the seasons that y'all put together for us, man. They have been great. I hate, they're coming to an end, but I'm glad I got y'all's broadcast, our series, man. I'm so glad that I was able to get to know you guys a little more. So I want to thank you guys for all y'all have done.
And talk about that late caution, because once it came out after you guys have already come down into the pit lane and you came in to the pit lane for tires, was there anything going through your mind that was negative, or anything going through your mind that you didn't think that was the right call, or did you think that ultimately that call would pay off?
Yeah, honestly, I was trying to get Brady to go with me, so if, something like this was to happen, which it did play out this way, we would both been on the same equal set of tires, and he wouldn't have been in front of me or wouldn't have had an advantage on me. I kind of figured Steven would stay out, but that's just the way it goes. If the leader goes in, everybody stays out. If he stays out, we go in. It was a crappy situation for Steven. But yeah, man, I thought that would probably be the last caution. Unfortunately, it wasn't. I figured I would have had the upper hand on him with going in there. I really didn't think it was a bad call because I paid attention to see how many was on the lead lap. There wasn't very many on the lead lap at that time, so I knew I wouldn't start deep in the field, so I thought I could at least get the run on him. If it stayed green, I probably would have been okay, but unfortunately, the other caution came out and allowed Brady to go pit. He seen the gain that I made, and he took advantage of it, so congratulations to him.
And of course, 2 wins on the season. A lot of consistent finishes, even though you weren't able to put it together for a run to victory lane since Kentucky. But talk about this season as a whole. It was a great one for not just you, but of course Mission 1 Esports. Is you do have a driver in victory lane tonight.
Yeah, definitely. We've all put time in. All of us as a team put time in, and it definitely paid off. I'm so glad we finished 1-2 tonight. The season overall, man, we got 2 wins, a bunch of top 5s, a couple bad finishes, but not very many. I can't. There ain't nothing to really hang my head down on this season. We'll come back next season with the momentum and keep it going.
Well, thank you very much for joining us here on the commentary booth, Robbie, and congratulations on your 2nd place finish and 2nd place in the championship as well.
Thank you. I'm gonna give a shout out to my girlfriend Kayla. She was watching. She's watched this whole entire season with me, and she doesn't give me no slack for it, man. So huge shout out to her.
Well, thank you very much for joining us again. That's Robbie Richards, 2nd place in the championship, and we go to the driver who finished 3rd in the championship tonight, and ultimately those late race yellow flags took him out of contention. It's the 23 of Steven Thomas. Steven, first of all, let's talk about your season as a whole, because you came in a 3-time race winner, 2 in a row, a complete sweep of the Elite 8 round. It was an amazing season for you and the 23 team.
Yeah, ultimately it was a good season, but boy, what a disappointment tonight.
Going into that first yellow flag, after green flag pit stops had taken their course, were you thinking about pitting, or was the strategy always just to stay out and use those tires in both of those yellow flags?
Oh, yeah, I was thinking about pitting, and I should have, obviously. I went to go in and noticed that nobody come down, and of course, as soon as I go up, everybody went down, so I got played there. It was awesome. But it is what it is. I tried to hold it off at the end and just couldn't quite do it.
Well, ultimately, still 3 wins on the season and still a top 5 here from Virtual Charlotte. Of course, you can wonder what if, but looking back on your season, it was a really good one, even though you know the mistakes that you made in this championship race. But who do you have to thank for this entire campaign? Because ultimately, 3 wins and a spot in the championship 4, nothing to complain about at the end of the day.
No, nothing at all. Like I said, the season and all was awesome. I had a good time this season. I can't wait until next. But yeah, obviously I want to thank everybody involved, man. Brady, Michael, Taylor, Keith, Robert. I mean, just everybody that races and you guys. for the broadcast. All my family members, my grandma Joanne watched every single race this season, didn't miss one. And yeah, that's about it. My little teammate Logan, Quinn, my dad Jason. Like I said, dude, had a great time this season, and I can't wait till next.
Well, thank you very much for joining us again here in the commentary booth. That's Stephen Thomas, third place in the championship tonight. So close, but ultimately at the end, it was not meant to be for him. And unfortunately, we're gonna get a quick one in with Taylor Peacock here. And Taylor, you came in as the fourth championship competitor and ultimately in 8th place and a retirement at the end of this race. I think is the opposite of exactly what you wanted. We saw some slow speeds from you at the beginning. Just what happened tonight? What was the culprit for you in the 81?
Yeah, I couldn't get a hang of Charlotte at all. It's just not my cup of tea. It's my worst mile and a half by far. I put little bit of practice time in. I just couldn't get it. That's all there is to say about that, I guess. Just wasn't fast enough today.
Still a win at Martinsville for the season, though, and great consistency throughout the playoffs to make it to this point. So still a good campaign for you. Who do you have to shout out? Who made it all possible?
Thanks to Brady for putting it on, and McKinnon helping as well, and also Racecraft. We appreciate having you guys. Other than that, my Steven Gregory, my teammate, and I appreciate all the competitors. It's been an awesome season.
Well, thank you very much for joining us here in the commentary booth post-race. That is Taylor Peacock. 4th place finish for him in the championship, an 18th place finish and a retirement for him tonight. But Jordan, what a season we saw here in the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series. This had everything. It had a late run in the championship and ultimately 11 unique winners on the season. A fantastic run for a lot of drivers. And ultimately, Brady LaBeouf gets it done in the same season where he won his first race in NASRA. You cannot script it better than that.
You know, definitely a great win for him. And ever since Texas, man, it's been just consistency of great races, great drafting with drivers and everything. So everybody just did a great job this whole entire season. I enjoyed it, and just again, another huge congrats to Brady LaBeouf because he just pulled off a great win tonight. Had a little bit of struggles in stage 2, but at the end of the day, walked home victorious with the championship.
And of course, Racecraft TV has been the official broadcaster of the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series for its first 3 seasons, and unfortunately we will be parting ways going into the future, at least for the meantime. Season 4 will be over on our colleagues at LSR TV, so you can go over there to tune into the next season of the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series and see if we're gonna have a double champion, as in 3 seasons we've had 3 unique champions, and we'll see if that is going to continue going into the future. Like I mentioned, 11 unique winners this season. Congratulations to Robbie Richards, Kyle Hess, Dustin Scruggs, Stephen Thomas, Keith Bradley, Brady LaBeouf, Taylor Peacock, Corey Saucier, Devin Painter, Jacob Klinkart, and Adam Newbert. They have all walked away with wins this season, and a great run for each of them when it came to their wins. And ultimately, at the end of the season, 4 came in, but 1 exited a champion, and that is Brady LaBeouf in the 9. He walks away as your Season 3 NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series. Thanks to him as an admin at the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series. A special thanks to Josh Edmondson at Racecraft TV. For my colleague in the booth, Jordan Hicks, all track and car cameras tonight were created by Istvan Balo. My name is Joshua Lee, and we thank you for tuning in to Season 3 of the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series, and we thank you for another successful season. Congratulations to Brady LaBeouf. He is your champion.